Hey, welcome to the podcast. This is The Surge Effect, and I'm your host, Mike Surge. This podcast will be talking about anything and everything, life in general to current events and past events, and all things about this beautiful and wonderful world that we live in. And this podcast, well, it'll probably have an effect on you. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Surge Effect. In today's episode of the Surge Effect, we're going to be talking a little bit about Jagmeet Singh, or as Pierre tells the story, Sellout Singh. I'm sure you've seen it all over the internet about how Jagmeet Singh has sold out Canadians by going along with the Liberals and joining forces with the Liberals to basically screw over Canadians. So we're going to be talking about that. So before we get started, I always talk about two of my sponsors. First sponsor is Love My Legs, Owen Sound, Grey Bruce. Click on the link below, head on over to their Facebook page, and check out all the different leggings styles that they have to offer, and they are the only lifetime guarantee in the business. Number two, He Shirts, She Shirts Plus. Head on over to He Shirts, She Shirts Plus and check out all the stuff that they have to offer. They are more than just another t-shirt company. Check on the link below. I also like to throw in a couple items. My BCAAs, my branched chain amino acids. I drink them all the time, and they are fantastic, and they're good for what ails you. Go check them out on Amazon. Click on the link below, and you can buy yours today. Number two is going to be my RODECaster 2 Plus. It is my RODECaster Pro 2, and it is a phenomenal soundboard for all kinds of things you want to do. Anyway, let's get started with today's podcast. And the first thing we're going to be talking about is Trudeau back in 2015. And this was his acceptance speech. And this is what he said. I'm sure you must remember this.
Sunny ways, my friends, sunny ways. This is what positive politics can do. This is what a positive, hopeful vision and a platform and a team together can make happen. Canadians from all across this great country sent a clear message tonight. It's time for a change in this country, my friends, a real change.
A real change. Well, sounds like everyone's pretty excited in regards to the change. Well, let's fast forward to today, and this is Pierre Poilievre literally talking about what's happened in this country.
Our homeless shelters are already overflowing. Our refugees already live on the streets and under bridges. What do you think is going to happen when 10 or 100,000 families lose their homes? Where will they go? We will have the world talking about a humanitarian crisis, not in a developing country on the other side of the Atlantic, but right here in Canada. That is where this is heading.
What is happening on our streets is an unprecedented humanitarian crisis. There are too many people unhoused, living in encampments or other unsafe conditions, and they're struggling with mental health and addictions issues.
Justin Trudeau, the vacation is over. You've doubled housing costs. We have young people living on the streets. It's time to recall the House so that we can get Canadians a home.
All right, let's once again fast forward to today, and this is Pierre Poilievre just the other day, and he was talking about the price of our groceries. Does it sound like sunny ways to you folks? Sunny ways?
To the grocery store and you're buying your groceries, you're spending more than ever before, and you're leaving with less than ever before. Again, That is after 2 years of Jagmeet Singh joining the Liberal government. So what's clear is that Singh did not join to bring down grocery prices or housing costs, both of which have skyrocketed since he joined this coalition. He joined to keep Trudeau in power so that he could get his pension. Jagmeet Singh is trying to delay the election until after February of next year so that he can qualify for a $2.2 million taxpayer-funded pension. That's why Canadians are calling him Sell Out Singh. My message to Sell Out Singh is this: put the people ahead of your pension. Break the costly coalition with Trudeau to trigger a carbon tax election where Canadians can choose between the costly coalition of the NDP Liberals that tax your food, punish your work, take your money, double your housing costs, and unleash crime and chaos in your community, or common sense Conservatives who will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. If you're a billionaire, like the people Trudeau vacations with, then you don't have to worry about inflation because your assets are inflation-proof or even inflation-positive. You get richer. It's a transfer of wealth from the have-nots to the have-yachts. And you know what? It's ironic. It's all done with Jagmeet Singh's support. He can huff and puff all he wants, but he supported the inflationary policies that destroyed the wages of working-class people, and he supports what Justin Trudeau did on the rail strike. Do you know how we know that? Do you know how we know that?
Do you support it?
No. Do you know how we know that Jagmeet supports it? Because he's still in a coalition with him. And if Jagmeet didn't support it, he would respond to my letter this afternoon and say he's pulling out of the costly coalition and he's going to vote to bring down Trudeau and cause a carbon tax election. That's what I'm calling for him to do today. Jagmeet Singh, stop selling out the workers. Stop being sellout Singh. Put the people ahead of your pension. Vote for a carbon tax election now.
Vote for a carbon election now. Of course, that's the handle they're throwing at him. Sell out Singh. Sounds kind of apropos because it's exactly what he's done to the Canadian people. He has sold us a bill of goods, sold us down the river, and the people in BC that are in his riding that vote him in, they need to think again because it affects millions of Canadians. The things that these people do in our house affects all of us. Almost, 40 million Canadians? It affects us all. Here's another one. Sell out Singh in the house. Check it out.
Speaker, normally the NDP leader is well worth ignoring, but I just can't help myself. He says that the Prime Minister acts like he has no power to stop all of these greedy CEOs from ripping off consumers.
You act like you don't have the power to stop these greedy CEOs, but you do. When will the Prime Minister finally stop greedy CEOs from ripping off Canadians?
Who else has the power? Well, the guy that joined the government 2 years ago.
That's right.
Power during the worst food price inflation in over 4 decades. Will the Prime Minister agree with me that his carbon tax coalition is nothing more than an anti-competitive price-fixing scheme that is costing Canadians at the grocery store?
Once again, nailed it in the house. So here we go again. Here's another Jagmeet Singh clip in our house. Asks another question about Jagmeet.
Mr. Speaker, the NDP leader was just asking about why the Prime Minister gave tens of millions of dollars in corporate handouts to powerful grocery chains. So the answer, of course, is that he voted to let the Prime Minister do that. Not a single penny of that money could have gone without the vote of the NDP coalition partner. But we learned something else, that this might have been due to the influence of the NDP leader's spokesman and brother, whose company is a lobbyist for Metro. Would the Prime Minister support an investigation into whether or not the NDP leader's spokesman and brother has been unduly influencing the leader of the NDP?
His brother is a spokesman and a lobbyist for the grocery stores that Jagmeet keeps bringing up about his the food pricing and stuff for Canadians across the board, right? So here's another one, because Jagmeet is holding on to his pension. This is what he's doing. This is why he's in this coalition. He's hanging on till after a certain point in time.
Are you confident in Jagmeet Singh that he will support or not support this budget moving forward, which would, of course, trickle into an election if he does not support this?
Let's be honest, Jagmeet Singh is only concerned about his pension. I mean, let's cut the crap, right? He has to wait until January of 2025 to be eligible for a pension. So he's worried that if the election happens and he loses, he won't have a pension. So he's making everyone pay the massive bill of keeping Justin Trudeau around so that he can get to pension eligibility and continue to fund his fancy suits and watches and Beamers. And that's what he's all about. It's a greedy position, but that's what you got with Jag and Justin, a costly coalition that tax your food, punish your work, take your money, double your housing costs, and unleash crime and chaos in your community. But when the carbon tax election happens, you'll be able to elect a common sense government that will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime.
Once again, talking about Jagmeet. So these are things that hopefully you've seen in the news, and open up your eyes a bit of what's going on, of course, in the world. Now, don't get me wrong. Hey, all politicians, they all got something going on. They really do. But like I've always said, if you go way back on my podcast from 2 years ago, if they're not making your life better, then they got to go. You have to fire them at the stations, at the voting stations, and go in and cast your vote and get them out of office. You have the power. It's the power of the people, not the power of the politicians. The government's not there to control us. They're there as a tool for us to help us have a better way of life. But people have forgotten that along the way, unfortunately. So here's another little clip here about Jagmeet Singh that sometimes people they don't know about. So here we go.
Jagmeet Singh is used to getting what he wants. He went to a high-priced American private school in Beverly Hills. Rolex watches, BMWs, Versace bag. But now he's got a problem. He needs to delay the election till next year when he qualifies for his $2 million pension. So he sold you out, signed on with Trudeau to raise taxes, crime, and housing costs. Sell out Singh. He gets his pension. You pay the price.
Isn't that something, right? Sell out Singh. He gets his pension, and we all pay the price. So at the start of this podcast, this is going to be a very fast podcast today. At the start of the podcast, I played Trudeau, Sunny Ways, talking about sunny ways, my friends, sunny ways. After 9 years of this cat, it's just, you saw some of the homelessness and what's going on with our economy is absolutely atrocious, but they'll make you sound like he's like the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, he's not the greatest thing since sliced bread. And the people of Canada hopefully have seen this. Here's one young gentleman just the other day that saw this. He was an Algoma steel worker. And this is what he and Justin had to say in their exchange. If you haven't seen it, here it is. Spread it around to social media. Fire it over on Twitter. Spread this one. Spread it to all your friends, because this is what a lot of people in Canada feel like.
Hey, I'm finding just one
Well, we got donuts over here if you want to thank you for your hard work.
I can bring some for my kids here.
Okay. The 25% tariffs we just brought in on Chinese steel is going to help you out.
That's going to keep my job, yeah.
That's going to keep your job.
What about the 40% taxes I'm paying? And I don't have a doctor?
The $400 million that we invested in the card means you're going to have a job for
I think you're only here for another year. We won't see you around probably another year.
That's about it.
That's right, that's right.
And I look forward to everyone exercising the right to vote.
Yep.
Basic choice. We're going to invest in you and your job.
I don't believe you for a second.
Dental care? Do you know anyone who got dental care?
Yeah, I pay for it myself.
Okay.
We're like 3 years
You
behind.
have a job and coverage?
Yeah,
but we got
people
seniors.
in my family.
We've got
Every
seniors.
time we go for a dental visit, it's costing me about $50 in my pocket per person.
Okay.
Why? I have a good job. You're not really doing anything for us, Justin.
actually, we just invested so 500,000 people who hadn't been to the dentist got to go to the dentist over the past few months.
Probably like my neighbor that doesn't go to work because she's lazy.
Well,
She
you know
just
what?
doesn't go to work. She lives the same
Most
life I do.
Canadians try to stick up for each other, and that's what we're going to keep doing.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
luck and take care of your family, sir.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right.
Have a nice day.
Have a good day, sir. All right. All right, the other guys they got the donuts. Excellent.
Oh, those guys got the donuts. Excellent. This guy is a narcissist. That gentleman was just saying to him about paying at the dental office. And then Justin turns around and says, whoa, what about the 500,000 people that got dental coverage? And the young gentleman there said, oh, it'd be like my neighbor who doesn't have a job and doesn't work because she's lazy. And then he turns around and says, well, you know, Canadians have to stick up for Canadians. He has an answer for everything, but he's not listening. That's one of his problems. Justin doesn't listen. All right, so the very last video I'm going to show you is Douglas Murray. And Douglas Murray is talking about Justin Trudeau. We started this podcast with sunny ways, my friends, sunny ways, to finishing off with Douglas Murray talking about Justin Trudeau.
Justin Trudeau's immigration minister. Wow, okay. Justin Trudeau's minister, Mark Miller, announced Canada will be inviting 1,000 Gazans into our country.
Mark Miller, by the way, is the gentleman the minister the other day that was talking about the terrorist and his son who got into our country, that his immigration department let into this country. They vetted him, brought him in, and they found out he was an ISIS terrorist who brutally killed an individual online and on a video. And he was going to commit a terrorist act on our soil in Toronto, along with his son. That's Mark Miller, and he was on the other day talking about it. And I don't know about you folks, but if somebody screws up at their job really, really bad, someone needs to be fired or let go or demoted or something. But for some reason, the Liberals, no, it's all good. Just let them go. It's ridiculous. Anyway, carry on.
He advanced the yearly designated amount of UNRWA before pausing funds, of course, for the whole year. Canada voted in favor of a UN resolution for a ceasefire. Trudeau refuses to designate the IRGC a terrorist organization. Trudeau alleged support and protection of anti-India Khalistanis responsible for Canada's worst terror attack ever. Melanie Joly, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, is blocking military contracts to Israel. And just this week, they introduced an online hate bill that will work to convict people who hurt or offend people online. This is all just in the last 6 months. What would you say to Justin Trudeau if he was sitting right here?
Here we go.
Well, the first thing I'd say is that he should do something that he doesn't do enough, which is listen. I've been, as I just mentioned, I've been in Israel over recent months. I've been there many times over the years, covered most conflicts since and including the 2006 Hezbollah-Lebanon war. But one thing that really struck me recently was a piece by a friend of mine, the historian Neil Ferguson, just this week wrote in Bloomberg. He suddenly brought this to mind. It's a moment of clarity. The year before this, I was in Ukraine with Ukrainian forces when they were fighting to push back the Russian advance, and I was with them when they retook Kherson. And you know, nobody said that the Ukrainians should stop. Nobody has said that the Ukrainians shouldn't win. What is the problem with governments like this in this country? That they simultaneously say, and I deeply wish the Ukrainians success in their fight against Putin, but how can it be that people like Justin Trudeau base their moral sense on the bravery of standing alongside the Ukrainians? They say the Ukrainians must fight to the end, we must help them, we must arm them all the way. And sometimes they feel very manly for doing that. But you know, why is it that Israel always has to be made to fight to a draw? Why is it Israel that every time she's involved in a conflict is told, you've got a little bit of time, but we're not going to back you to victory? Oh no, you get the chance to have a little bit of victory and then we'll make sure you don't win. That's not being an ally, that's being a coward, and a duplicitous coward at that. I'm amazed by that double standard. And as I say, it was only Neil's piece this week that really brought it home. But there are so many things one might say to Justin Trudeau and others. I mean, one obvious one is, and by the way, his counterparts in other parts of the West have done similar things. The First Minister of Scotland has called for the people of Gaza to be moved to Scotland, which is... it would be a great shock to many of my relatives in Scotland, and I'm not sure how the Gazans would put up with the weather. But anyway, you know, I would say to people like Justin Trudeau about that, just wonder one thing, if you can wonder still. Wonder why the most severe wall blockade in the whole world is the wall between Gaza and Egypt. Ask why. One of my bêtes noires is Queen Rania of Jordan, partly because I was once unfortunate enough to be at an event with her, where, I'll never forget it, the head of Google, Eric Schmidt, was interviewing her much like this, and he was saying things like, Your Royalness, Your Highness, Your Majestiness, Your Sereneness, tell us, you know, we're in the era of Brexit and Trump, tell us what we need to learn, you know, in our democracies. And I was just sitting at the back going, she's only got one piece of advice, marry a king. That's it. That is the totality of her insight. But she has been all over the airwaves in recent months doing this. She does furious interviews. Christian Anampour and others, they also say, Your Highness, Your Sereneness, educate us about this. Nobody says to her, tell us what your father-in-law did to the Palestinians. Tell us about that. Tell us about Black September. Let's have the whole thing out. Why is it that uniquely, it seems, among all refugee situations in the world, and there are many, that the people of Gaza are not expected to disperse across neighboring countries? It's because the neighboring countries know something that Justin Trudeau does not.
100%.
I'm afraid to say there is nothing intrinsically wrong with the Palestinian people, but, you know, Hamas has had exactly 18 years of governing the Gaza. They were given a state.
See, a lot of people don't realize that, but see, Hamas was voted in 2006. That's why he's saying that they've had 18 years. 18 years because they were elected by the people in Gaza. Most people don't understand this. This is what happened in 2006. Hamas, a terrorist organization, was elected by the people there.
They have had 18 years. 18 years, as you know, is the education of a child. And psychopaths, as we all know, are almost certainly born. but sociopaths are made. And Hamas has tried to make a sociopathic society where the greatest thing a child can wish for is to kill Jews. Now, no country on earth would want to take a population that would need permanent de-radicalization. Nobody in the region. And if Justin Trudeau wants to do it, that's a matter for you voters.
So there you go. If Justin wants to do it, that's a matter for us. We will decide if he is going to be our leader. If not, well, you know the alternative. He gets voted out by the people, the masses. Douglas Murray, he's a journalist, and he's been all over the world, and he is a phenomenal speaker, and he knows a lot of information about our geopolitical systems in this world. He really, really does a great job, and he's very articulate. I always like to listen to Douglas Murray talk about different things and debate people about different things because he's spot on. He's spot on about a lot of stuff. So go check him out online. You can just type in his name, check him out in any YouTube or any other of those platforms. But anyway, listen, that's 26 minutes in, so that's enough for the podcast for today. We're talking about Jagmeet Singh, of course, and towards the end, I just wanted to finish it off with Douglas Murray and Trudeau, because I started with Trudeau and his sunny ways, friends, sunny ways, to the life that all us Canadians have right now. So with that being said, thank you very much for checking the old subscribe button. Thanks for tuning into my podcast. It's much appreciated. And please share, please like. It always helps with the algorithm on YouTube. And until next time, everyone, I like to always sign off with this, is that in our lives, everyone has issues. Everyone has a story, and life is tough. But what we do is we keep moving forward. That's right. Keep moving forward. Not an easy task, but you got to keep doing it because it's the only way you're going to get to the end of where you want to go. All right. Anyway, with that being said, have a great day, everyone. And until next time, cheers until next podcast. This episode sponsored by He Shirts, She Shirts. Go to www.heshirtssheshirts.ca. Just type in the letters TSA, The Surge Effect. When you check out, type in TSA for your coupon and receive 10% off your next purchase. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, everybody.